All right, boys and girls, welcome back. Sam's Army, episode 2.234. We got a lot to talk about this week. We're going to start with headlines, where we'll talk Italian betting, Sheik maybe buying United, maybe not, and Inter Miami's going worldwide. Then weekly what if, Nagelsmann versus Berhalter. U.S. men's national team, Brad Evans was going to stop by. He's men's national teams, Seattle Sounders, Sneaky Fox FC legend. He actually beat Germany twice with the national team. So he knows what he's talking about here. So stay tuned for that, obviously. Then we will come back to Premier League, where we got to get your mind right for the action coming up this weekend. So we'll do power rankings and a weekend preview. And then finally, stoppage time with Ivan Toney and perhaps Sandro Tonali's best bets. Overtrain is cooking, and it is cooking hot like it has never cooked before. Plus, everyone's favorite segment, GOAWs. But now, it is time to welcome in this beautifully distinguished panel this week. Let's go with age before beauty, shall we? Start with Tweedle number one, Mikey Fowler. He's playing hurt this week, everybody. So give him just a little bit of extra round of applause in your mind, anyway, and squeezing us in between transcontinental flights for Audiorama, where he's bringing the best of the podcast world to the people. Your question, though, sir, is why have you been holding out on us and not giving us Mama Fowler's betting picks every week?
Oh man, she knows her college football, man. For those who aren't hyper online, my mom texted me that she was going to the Washington Oregon game, and it was going to be Washington by a field goal, and final score was 36-33. So I will be selling her picks moving forward. Please DM me for information.
I think you should. She nailed that one. Is she actually a sports fan, or was that completely
She
out of the
played
blue?
college basketball. She loves college athletics, and her and her new husband go to every Washington Huskies game across the West Coast as their fun hobby.
Nice. Mazel on the wedding.
Thank you.
Next up, we got what are we saying? Your beauty? Yeah, I guess we'll give you the beauty on this one. Mitchell Goulet, aka Overtime Mitch, who everybody will recall is coming off knee surgery. You did have knee surgery, right? Okay, I knew you.
I did, yes.
You busted your knee. I didn't know you actually got surgery. So how long? Where are we in the process, and how long until we'll be getting some, dunks on Instagram?
We're pretty far. I mean, we're over just about a year post-op now, but I haven't stuck to rehab like I should, like everybody tells you to. I just haven't. I played full 5-on-5 basketball for the first time in over a year last week, and I was comfortably the best player on the court. So I'd say we're all the way back.
What are these 12-year-olds?
13, but all the way back. Doesn't matter.
You got full like body armor knee protection on, like
No, I raw dog it. I don't. What am I gonna do? Like, I'll tear it again if I tear it again, but I don't think a brace is gonna help me.
Okay, all right, I like it. I like the just live your life. Don't worry about that stuff. Okay, all right. Headlines time, boys and girls. This is a big news, a big one. A betting scandal, not the first, not the last, has rocked the Italian soccer world. It's basically an investigation targeting as many as 40 Italian players came to light this week when Sandro Tonali of Newcastle and Nicolo Zaniolo of Aston Villa were both sent home by the Italian national team after being questioned by police in relation to this investigation. So another name that's been mentioned is Nicolo Fagiolo of Juventus. It's not clear exactly, what they may or may not have done at this point. Reports are suggesting they may have gambled on illegal websites. It's not clear necessarily that they've gambled on sports, although it has been suggested that Fagiolo specifically probably did. So we don't really know what's going on here. Obviously, this is going to be a big thing, and if it's a 40 players, it's going to get ugly. The players can play, while the investigation is going on. So Sandro Tonali and Zaniolo can play in the Premier League. The Athletic has reported that they could be up for a penalty or a suspension of like 3 years for this stuff. I don't know if that's like worst case or best case, depending on how this goes, but obviously not good news. A lot of unknowns at this point. Anything come to mind, Mitch, when you hear this type of stuff? Just like another another notch on the old belt for the betting industry.
I I think we're seeing the firsthand like the murky waters that sports betting partnerships and teams are going to experience for the next or have experienced in the last couple of years and will experience in the near future, just because it's such a weird partnership where like players are encouraged to wear this on their chest and clubs are encouraged to sign official betting sponsorships and how whole stadiums are named after sports books. But as soon as one of those players crosses over one of that line, it's viewed as like the absolute most heinous offense that someone can do. uh, I don't know. 40 players is a lot, though. 40 players?
Yeah.
You have to imagine that some of them just like didn't even know they were doing something wrong. It can't be a 40-player gambling ring. Are they all Italian too?
I believe they're all Italian, and the rules are different as well. So this is
Are they just like
apparently
shooting dice or something? I got no issue with
I
that.
think that's like what they're going to try and suggest. They were basically
Okay.
on because there's illegal sites and there's legal sites in
Yeah.
Italy. And so apparently just betting on an illegal site can get you in trouble. And maybe they all did that, whether they knew that was illegal or not. Now, what they were doing on that site could have been cards, could have been something else. Doesn't have to be sports gambling necessarily. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see. I will say this. Serie A actually has, I just learned this from this news event. Serie A has stronger rules against taking betting companies or gambling companies money. Like they don't allow it as a shirt sponsor.
Oh,
They
that's true.
don't allow it, as stadium sponsors, that sort of stuff. So at least if there's one thing come out of this, it's that I, got a little bit of respect for the Serie A for not taking the money and running, unlike
Yeah.
Premier League. Mikey, I assume you're just sort of co-signing everything we've said so far,
I feel
trying not to puke.
I feel very strongly about the fact that Americans have a lot of educating to do on the culture of gambling and how it's lived in Europe. I think it's a very different situation than what's going on here. And the idea of it being an illegal book, I mean, everyone knows what that is, basically just like an app that's not traceable or whatever. All my big takeaway was the snitching from Fagioli was out of this world.
All of this is all of
today,
this is reportedly and allegedly. We don't
the headline all over the place today was Fagioli said, Tonali gave me the book. Tonali gave me the book. It's Tonali's book. So I hope this ends with somebody getting strangled in the back of a Rolls Royce or something like a true Italian storyline should.
He doesn't really mean that, for the record, but yeah, I hear you. Yeah, it just, I don't know, all these betting scandals or whatever, it just stinks. It just sort of, it's hard for a league to really imagine this isn't going to be the case when you're taking all this money from gambling companies. Oh well. Latest chapter in the Manchester United takeover drama is here. Sheikh Jassim of Qatar has allegedly withdrawn his bid to buy United. So he is supposedly bids 5 billion. I don't know. I assume that's euros. Maybe it's pounds. I'm not sure. 5 billion. Glazers wanted 6 billion. Meanwhile, the publicly traded company, it has a market cap less than 3 billion. So interesting little tidbit there. And obviously we don't really know if any of this is true. Every day there's a new story about this bidder is out, this bidder is in. I did find it very interesting and exciting and sad for Manchester United fans, because it sounded like, Sheikh Jassim was about to buy Mbappe, Kingsley Coman, and Camavinga, according to some highly reputable news sources, aka like the Daily Mail. So, obviously that was going to happen. But there is a possible ray of sunshine for United fans, in that Sir Radcliffe, who's, a lifelong Manchester United fan, he's supposedly close to buying a 25% stake in the club, which would allegedly give him a significant influence on operations. Now, what that means, if he would be any better than the Glazers, and if any of this actually comes to fruition, is, soccer God only knows. But yeah, so there's the latest in the United drama. It's just, I don't even pay attention, to be honest with you, at this point. It's just, I can't. I don't think the Glazers are ever going to sell. I think they're just going to bleed that club dry of revenues and profits from now until eternity. And God bless them as a non-United fan. If I was a United fan, I'd be mighty sick of that shit at this point. Inter Miami announced an international tour that they're going to set off on very soon after the season closes, like a couple weeks after. They're going to head to China and play a couple Super League teams in early November. So that's great news for the club's finances, I'm sure. Great news for, I wouldn't say great news, good news for MLS. Expand the brand and profile a little bit. Question for you guys: is there any other club in MLS that would be able to do an international tour at this point?
No.
No way.
No.
We're not there yet.
The LA Galaxy name matters. But I don't think the current team would be doing many favors to the MLS brand.
Yeah. I was thinking maybe at LAFC with some of the names they got there. But
they're off doing a South American tour.
Yeah, they should do, yeah.
Yeah. Or Atlanta. Atlanta's got some names there too.
The Thiago Almada tour, basically.
Yeah, I just figured it's cool that Inter Miami is going to do that. Kind of stinks for the players, but I guess they'll get a lot of Chinese Instagram followers. So shout out to them. Last and definitely least when it comes to headlines, tragic news out of Brussels this afternoon, where the Belgium-Sweden qualifier was abandoned at halftime after news of two Swedish fans were gunned down not far from the stadium. Lots of reports flying around about what's going on here. There's been, some actually reputable news sources suggesting that it has sort of a terrorist element to it. I don't know what's going on. I think it's best to just wait to see what happens and what happened. But obviously, just tragic events, terrible news. Hopefully, everybody else is safe. And if they end up dispensing with the idiot who pulled this shit, then oh well, that happens. But thoughts and thoughts to the everybody involved. All right, weekly what if time, boys and girls. So this is an interesting one because I had a question that I was really excited about, and then it turns out that Alexi Lalas just straight up stole it. And by the way, he didn't steal it, but he just apparently my brain and his brain have some of the same thoughts, which
that's a scary thing.
A little mixed. I don't hate Lalas. I know he does his little troll thing. I don't hate him. He comes out with some things. I'm like, okay, I'm okay with that. And then, of course, he pulls some absolute bullshit. But anyway, the question is, if Julian Nagelsmann and Gregg Berhalter switched places this week, and Julian Nagelsmann was coaching the U.S., Gregg Berhalter was coaching Germany, what would the final score of that game be?
5-0 Germany.
5-0 Germany. So Berhalter would have him clicking in a way that Nagelsmann would never could.
No, I don't think Berhalter would implement Berhalter ball. They would get the new manager bump that they obviously got on Saturday. And I think he would just kind of allow German players to hey, you guys know what to do, right? You guys go out there and have fun. Whereas I feel like the little success that we did see against Germany was a result of Berhalter ball.
That was far less of a Gregg Berhalter hatred that I was thought we might hear here.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. You've never been a Berhalter out guy, so okay.
No, but I do think that the results on Saturday tells a story about this team that not a lot of people want to talk about, is that we don't beat teams that are better than us. We never have. We just, Pulisic said it after the game too. We got to find a way to start winning these games. And when he says these games, I think he means games against, your top 20 teams in the world, games against teams that are comparable, at least FIFA nationally ranking wise to you. And we just don't seem to be equal to some of these teams that we play. I think it was great to have Germany as a friendly during this window. But we're never going to do anything on a world scale if we can't beat our peers, let alone like, the top 3 to 5 teams in the world.
You got to assume that we're going to have to beat maybe 2 teams like a Germany to do anything at the World Cup, right? Like sort of best case scenario. I mean, you could obviously get really lucky and, catch a couple underdogs, but really you got to assume if we're going to try and go to a semifinal, let alone a final, you're going to have to beat sort of 2 Germanys. And I think this was a good sort of find out where we are, find out where our level is. And that 3-1 result did feel like it was about the right result, which we'll get into here with Brad Evans. But Mikey, if we switch coaches, what would be the final score?
3-1. Because I don't believe international managers mean anything.
Not a damn thing, huh?
Not a damn thing. The only thing they can do is worsen their bunch, which Gregg does very well. So 3-1.
All right. So you could have thrown a 3-0 or even a 4-1 in there if you really wanted to. But all right. You do you. All right. There we go. We're now about to throw it to a whole lot more U.S. men's national team talk between me and Brad Evans. So here we go. And now we're back. It's magic. That was Brad Evans. God, I love that guy. I got a whole new perspective of him playing 7v7, where like he was, always been a nice guy in terms of every time he's been on the podcast. But then when we actually played, I watched and he played. He's got a real serious side. You do not fuck with that guy when he's in a certain mind frame. But now we move on. It is Premier League time to get your brains back in Premier League mode. We got a full weekend, a full slate, some really good games coming up this weekend. So let's start to get our brains back in Premier League mode here. And to start that, we've got, we're not going to go off the table exactly. We're going to go power rankings, right? So we're going to actually see where you guys think people would, where they would finish if they played each other on a neutral field right now. But just for, edification of anybody that doesn't know, Tottenham right now, number 1 team in the land.
We don't
top
do this
of the
every
table.
week.
No, we don't. This is the first time I think we've ever done it. But I'm gonna do it, okay? Because you know what? It may not last long. I may not get to do it again for some time. So I'm gonna do it. And you're gonna get muted if you keep talking over there. Spurs number 1 in the table, Arsenal number 2, Man City 3, Liverpool 4. We don't even have to go further than that. It's basically, I just want to say, Tottenham, top of the table. Got that out. Feel real good about it. And now we'll throw it to, who wants to go first? Who wants to be the sacrificial lamb?
I can do the top
power
4.
rankings?
Yeah, power rankings. Mikey, you take the, you have the floor. Who you got 1 through 4?
Yeah, number 1, I think is pretty clear and undisputed at this point. It's Tottenham Hotspur.
I should have known. You can't even reverse jinx when we're not actually even playing each other.
Honestly, not many people expected them to take 3 points off Luton Town, and I think they did a fantastic job. Showed real honest strength. You got to go Arsenal second because they did beat City, who will be third in that list, and Liverpool rounded out. It's true to form. I think the top 4 that we see right now is pretty much how it's going to be the rest of the season. So
wow. Dalton, you can cut that last 2 minutes or whatever ever since Mikey started talking. Mitch, what do you now? I know you're gonna give us something real here. You're not gonna
Yeah, I don't have the
balls.
jinxing powers that Mikey does. I have to work on those. If you took the top of the table right now and you took Spurs from number 1 and put them down at 4 and then shifted everybody else up, that's my top 4. You've got Arsenal, City, Liverpool, Spurs at the 4. Again, with this neutral ground shit, no one's ever played on a neutral ground apart from like a final at Wembley or a Champions League final. So it doesn't make any sense. But I put Arsenal at number 1. Yeah,
it's a hypothetical. Goddammit, you gotta go with it. This is an interesting one because I mean, you guys just did beat City. So there's that. I
don't want to hear no Rod. I don't want to hear no Rodri, no Kevin. No, I don't want to hear any of that. That is true, what a Premier League season is. It is games where you have players available and sometimes you don't, whether it's due to suspension or injury or betting related suspensions or whatever. But they can only field whatever team they have healthy and available, and so can we. And on the day, we fielded a better team than they did. Very simple.
Listen, I want to, throw stones at that win. It was a solid win. Yes, they were missing some important players, them being City, but listen, you guys played well. I still don't know how City got absolutely nothing going against you when I thought that we got, a fair amount of offense. But a win is a win. I'm still taking City number one. I'm taking them 1-1. They're just a better team. On a neutral field, they beat you guys. I know it. I feel it in my bones. At least I'm not putting Tottenham up there, okay? I'm not being
If that were true, they would have created more chances against us, no?
Well, I mean, first of all, if they played again, Rodri would be available, right? His suspension will be up. KDB's injury he's probably out for a while, right? Yeah, because he's gone for a while. Rodri, though, that's a huge miss for them. I say if you play again, neutral field with Rodri, I think I would bet on them. That's where I'd put my money. And that's not even no reverse jinxing, no lying. That's where I put my money.
I believe that. Okay.
I got Arsenal second. I got Liverpool third. I mean, I guess I gotta put Tottenham in four. Like I love the way this team is playing. I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying that. I'm squeezing every last drip of enjoyment I can out of it. I don't think it's gonna last, but I've started to buy in just a little bit. I mean, Newcastle and Brighton and West Villa and West Ham, like these are teams that could easily jump us, all of them at some point. But I think right now, just the way we're playing, I got to give it to us. I'm going 4. I'm going 4 for Tottenham. I feel good. I feel good about that. I feel good about that spot. I'm just going to enjoy it for just a second. Okay. Now we move to bottom. Mikey, you want to go again? Want to go first?
Yeah. I mean, the bottom is pretty at this point.
Yeah, it's a lot easier.
Yeah, it really is. Sheffield United is a very, very bad side. They are rooted at the bottom. I'm honestly going to say losing to Everton 3-0 is worthy of Bournemouth being down there, but I will not put Burnley in the bottom 3. I will swap Luton in there. So I think it's Sheffield, Bournemouth, Luton Town.
I co-sign that. That's who I've written down as well. And those are the 3 newly promoted teams, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. And I really, really, really am looking at that Everton badge intently, and I will have my eye on them for the rest of the season.
Right. You can't put them down there coming fresh off a 3-1 win.
I really want them badly down there, but yeah, I understand now.
Okay. Now let's look ahead to the weekend. We got some great games this weekend. City hosting Brighton, Chelsea hosting Arsenal, Villa hosting West Ham, Merseyside Daerby, Spurs undoubtedly losing a London derby to Fulham. So, Mitch, which of those games? I mean, I guess we can kind of guess where you're.
I'll give you one because I'm gonna go to it. I'm going to the City Brighton game this weekend.
That's right.
So I'm excited as hell for that. I need a Matoma and Evan Ferguson masterclass. I think Matoma's healthy. But I'm really excited. This is going to be my first Premier League game ever. I've seen Arsenal play, but it's only been in friendlies. I've seen international games. I've seen plenty of U.S. men's national team games. This will be my first Premier League game ever. So City Brighton is going to be sick.
That's awesome. So you're going to be in Manchester.
I am. Yep.
That's awesome. And you'll be there the whole weekend?
I am on Sunday, day after the game. I'm going to be working with a couple names you may know. Jack Grealish, Ederson, Kyle Walker, and Manuel Akanji. So if you have any questions that you want me to ask them, they might ring a bell. Just show you a picture.
Never heard of them.
Any questions that you or the followers want me to ask them, let me know. DM
That's
me.
Right. Hit Mitch up on Instagram if you got some questions for him. I'm sure he could use some local knowledge. Or if you got tips, right? Tips for how to enjoy game day.
Or Manchester Rex. If I need like bars or restaurants, please hit me up.
I want to know how many of them watch their YouTube comps and which one they think is the best on the team.
I like that a lot. Like what's your go-to YouTube comp when it's 11 p.m. at night and you just need to unwind and throw something on? Is it Neymar? Is it like David Silva passes or something?
Yeah. What's your favorite YouTube comp?
Yeah.
I like it. I like it. Okay, so that's City, Brighton. That's the one I had written down first. I mean, that Brighton has been an interesting team this season. They've been real sort of hot and cold,
Hot and cold, yeah.
right? But if anybody can give City a problem, Brighton are not scared of anybody. Okay, Mikey, Arsenal, Chelsea. What are you thinking?
I mean, Arsenal's had no problem choking the life out of some of these Chelsea sides in the last few years. And the results have been, I believe last year was the most dominant 1-0. People were saying, like, as an Arsenal fan, like Chelsea never really even got a sniff of the 18, and Arsenal only won 1-0. So I've had a relative comfort with that side. Again, I'm talking myself into some shit here, but Chelsea don't scare me. I really don't think that they are organized enough to compete with a side that's ticking like we are. So that is not gonna bite me in the ass at all. But yeah, that game is actually not on my most interested game of the weekend. I actually really like Tottenham Fulham on Monday. I just think Fulham are, rounding into form in a pretty good way right now. They played well against Chelsea a couple weeks ago, despite that loss. And we'll see if Spurs can keep it going. It's the Paulinho game. I think he's going to be mighty important. And we'll see how this one goes. But I can see him dominating the midfield for Fulham and having a result come out of this. But nothing but 3 points. It should be on Tottenham's mind. They have a long list of injuries and suspensions for this one, though. So we'll see. I'm very interested in that game. Also, the standalone Monday is always fun. So
Yeah, I'm glad that game is at Tottenham. If
Yeah.
it was at Fulham, I'd be even more nervous than I already am. Listen, as much fun as I'm having with Tottenham and enjoying the banner about being top of the table, I am fully expecting like the wheels to come off. I'm just waiting for it to happen.
You're a traumatized individual.
I really am. And so like I thought we were going to lose to Luton, and then we got down a red card, and I was like, oh, we're for sure losing to Luton, and we somehow came out of that game with a win. So I was like, okay, well maybe I got to give him a little bit, add some confidence and stop being such a negative Nelly. But I can't do it. I'm waiting for the wheels to come off. Hopefully we get that win though. That would be nice. Other games, Merseyside Derby. This used to be such a big game, right? It's lost. Oh,
now you're captaining Salah in FPL.
Yeah, you better be the way that Erling Haaland's been playing. I think Salah's a smart move there, especially against City going against Brighton and Liverpool against Everton. It's just sad. Everton got to get their shit together. They will eventually, right? I mean, sort of every blind clock, broken clock every now and again. Villa West Ham is another one. Yeah, I know. Just let me live with my mixed metaphors, whatever the hell
I love that one.
babbling about over here. Aston Villa and West Ham. I mean, this is a game number 5 versus 7. With Burnley, they always look the goddamn same if you are slightly colorblind. This is a game I'm really interested in. It just feels like West Ham are a team. Speaking as a Tottenham fan, we always have problems with them. So maybe that's where I'm coming from on this. But it's just like West Ham is a team that I would not want to play right now. Like it just. Do you guys disagree with me on that?
They're always sneaky. I mean, they have the quality with Ward-Prowse to put up goal on the board against you no matter what you're doing. So it's almost unnerving to play against a side that you got to assume one's lurking despite how poor they can be on the pitch. So, yeah, very worried.
I'm just looking at their results, right? And so, like, they've lost to teams that you would expect them to lose to. They've lost to Man City 3-1. They've lost to Liverpool 3-1. But other than that, like, they've just been a very, very solid squad. Like, they spanked Brighton. They hung with Newcastle. Like, they never lose in Europa or Europa Conference League, whichever one. I think they're in Europa League this year. Yeah. They just are a team that I would not want to play. Yeah, I'm just gonna stand by that at this point. And of course, now they'll get absolutely spanked because speaking of teams that have kind of been hot and cold, Brighton fits that category. I feel like Aston Villa does too. So they could, I don't know, they could do a number on anybody. Any other games? Any other low
That feels like a
key?
shootout, regardless. You're overtrained. I'd like to hitch a car onto that.
I'm not including them as an official game, but yes, I
Oh,
think you're right. That does feel like goals in it. Aston Villa, West Ham on Sunday. Looking at the other games, Brighton, Burnley, or excuse me, Brentford, Burnley, Nottingham Forest, Luton Town. Nottingham Forest, Luton Town. That is a game Nottingham Forest has to win. I know they've been playing well lately, and it's interesting. Nottingham Forest has seemingly pulled themselves just kind of out of that relegation talk, like at all.
they, they've
Good.
played well.
Yeah.
They watching them. I mean, their name kind of precedes them as a bottom of the table team, but they've played an exciting brand of football. Whenever I've watched them this season so far, I think they should take care of Luton.
Yeah. Agreed. And Matt Turner's playing great for them. So always
Mhm.
like to see that. All right. There's Premier League. Now we've already done round the world in the US men's national team talk segment. So we're gonna head straight to stoppage time, put a bow on this episode. So we will start with Ivan Toney, perhaps Sandro Tonali's best bets. And as teased before, the overtrain is cooking like it has never cooked before. So Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, one per day, gave out overs, all five hit. This is what happens. Now I get a little too, big for my britches, a little out over my skis. I start giving out, getting a little too aggressive. I'm gonna try and dial it back. I'm gonna try and help you out and just keep it going here. But I got another five that I could throw at you guys. Actually, quickly, my best bets from last week, because they were really all over the place in terms of like weeks where I was digging deep. Like I had never dug this deep before, but we had a Czech Cup on Wednesday where Sparta Kolin and Bohemians finished 1-7. Then CONCACAF Nations League, St. Lucia and Guadeloupe 2-1. Euro qualifying Netherlands, France 2-1. League Two, Notts County and Mansfield was 4-1, and then finished it up with the one that I loved more than any of them, Liga de Expansión MX. And we had Atletico La Paz and Mineros. It finished 4-1. I felt that was just a perfect way to finish out the weekend. Thanks to Mitch, I actually got six because we had Camber, the team with from Eredivisie, whatever the second league in Netherlands, and they got two U's in the name, and that game was also over. So it was six. I just feel real good. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling probably a little too good, but I got five that we ready to go one Wednesday through Sunday. Do you guys want to go first? You want me to hit everybody with the overtrain first?
Roll it.
All right, overtrains Wednesday through Sunday, one a day. Here we go. We're going to start out on Wednesday. We're going MLS, Miami and Charlotte. So Charlotte is, sort of right on the cusp of making a push for the playoffs. Miami is eliminated, but Miami's Miami. The game is in Miami, and Charlotte's defense obviously not that great. So I think Miami scores at least one or two, and Charlotte has to be going for it. So I see goals coming from them. Thursday, we're going to go to El Salvador, CDFAS, and Fuerte San Francisco. Both those teams score. Both of them get scored on. I love that as an over on Thursday. Friday, we're going A-League. The Australian League is back. I feel so good. It feels so good because you know what? They got these late night games, basically like 11, midnight, 1 a.m. And so whether you're up, whether you're not, you can, sort of stay up and follow the game, or just wake up in the morning and find out, am I rich or not? So A-League is back Friday. We got Adelaide hosting Central Coast Mariners. Central Coast Mariners were my all-star last season, so I'm hoping they're going to keep that train going. Saturday, League MX. This is an easy one. America hosting Santos. Santos has scored and given up, I think, the most goals per game in the league, and America always scores, especially at home. So that one smells like an over. And finally, Liga, Monaco, another all-star this season for overs. Monaco hosting Mets. Hopefully Balogun gets back on the score sheet once, maybe twice. And we hit that over, no problem. So there you go. Wednesday through Sunday, one a day. Let's get rich. Let's do this. I feel good. Who's going next? Mitch, looks like you're ready to go.
Yeah, mine are a little more time sensitive. I got 3 international games tomorrow, which is going to be the 17th. We need to bounce back after a loss against Germany. It's US money line against Ghana. I think just karmically, we need to beat Ghana just to get that off of our back. US money line. I like Ivory Coast over South Africa. You're getting good money there. Cote d'Ivoire is a good side. South Africa is not. Very simple. And then I like over 1.5 in Uruguay against Brazil. Those games, those South American games, are either 1-0 or they're 7-0. There's no in between. I do not like both teams to score there because Brazil is a lot better defensively than every other team in CONMEBOL. But I do like over 1.5. So if you put all those together, it gets you about plus 300.
Okay. All right, parlay. There you go. I feel like you broke your own rule. It's either 1-0 or 5-2. So you probably should just go plus 6.5.
You could go with over 5.5 if you want, or go with the. I just like over 1.5. It feels just safe enough to where it's going to hit, but it's not going to hit handsomely.
Okay, fair enough. I've the Brazilian national team. I'm still available. They're available to me to bet on. I've banned myself from betting Serie A in Brazil.
Yeah, that's fine.
I just
hate
hate
cards in that league.
Oh, it's crazy. It's crazy. So many red cards, which totally changes games. Argentina, they don't score any goals ever. So basically, I'm not out on South American soccer, but Argentina and Brazil specifically, I can't win a game down there. Okay, Mikey, third division Uruguayan.
No, I actually love the standalone German game on Friday just to get you back in a club ball. Dortmund, Werder Bremen.
Oh yeah.
I think there's action and goals in there. So if you're like me and a total sicko, you pick individual players and you bet shots on target. A lot of the times I get myself stuck betting shots on target. So if you're like me and are sicko, Felix Nemecha, the defensive midfielder for Dortmund, is going to get a shot on frame in the Werder Bremen game. Usually right around plus 300 for him. So that's my pick of the day for Friday.
Total sicko move there. Total sicko pick. Respect
Hey,
it.
you want to know what I'm really betting out here? It's that.
That's right. That's what we want. So I appreciate your honesty, and I do love goals in that game as well. I was this close to making it my
many goals in that game.
Yeah, for sure. But I wanted to.
Julian Brandt's gonna this one as well.
I had to go A-League because A-League was back, so I had to go A-League on Friday. All right, there we go. Let's go get rich together. Now it's time for goes. Everybody's favorite segment. So, Mitchell, I feel like you did your homework. You got somebody for us?
Yeah. I have a negative and a positive. The negative is someone we've mentioned earlier. It's Fejoli for snitching and rolling over so goddamn easily and just being like, yeah, no, Tonali gave it to me. It's my boy Sandro gave me the link, gave me the affiliate code and everything. Unacceptable. Whatever punishment comes to him in the form of a ban from football, I think socially it should be worse, whether it's inside the Italian national team or whatever club he finds himself playing for after all this. To snitch like that and for that to be the predominant headline, at least it is today, but just for everybody to know you as the snitch in this story in which 40 other players are involved says a lot. And then my positive one is going to be San Marino and their national team, specifically the Twitter account for their national team. Population of San Marino is about 33,000 people. They have 150,000 followers on Twitter, which just speaks to how good of an admin that is. But they also have a brigade of fans called the Never Any Joy Brigade that follows San Marino around. And their whole thing is that they haven't seen their national team win since 2004. And since the inception of this brigade, which looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 guys that just go around being dudes at San Marino games, they haven't won either. So I think apart from my American fandom, I think I'm a San Marino fan as well. And I really, really want them to win. Just one game. We just need one, boys. Come on.
I love that. I love that. The Never Any Joy Brigade, is that the name of it?
Never Any Joy Brigade.
San Marino. There's San Marino, there's Liechtenstein, there's Gibraltar. There's a lot of
Berhalter's a good one.
little minnows there in UEFA that they don't like to talk about. They like to talk about the top of the table teams in UEFA. They got some Saint Nevis and Saint whatever the other saints in CONCACAF are. Okay, Mikey, what do you got for us on the Goa front?
I mine's actually gonna be Sheikh Jassim, you've seen the Manchester United false bid, just because it birthed for me a new genre of headline that I love, and I'm gonna summarize this quickly. It's the what I would have done headline. And he has been putting on an absolute masterclass today in these hours since the bid was turned down. Not only would he have signed Mbappe, he would have also brought in Kamavinga had this bid worked.
And Kingsley Coman.
And Kingsley Coman right away. So I just need you to know that had I gone into work today, I would have done a lot of effective things. So it birthed the new genre, and I just want to bring it into attention, and I want everyone to be really enjoying what we're seeing here, because this is truly a master at work. So yeah,
shout out to the media outlets that are like actually running with that stuff. That's just
God, it's the best.
Hilarious. All right, well done. I'll give my honorable mentions first. Mario Balotelli.
Oh yeah.
Who clapped back at Zlatan. Zlatan gave an interview in which honestly, like he was just himself, but he was being kind of honest. He was basically like, Mario Balotelli could have been the best player in the world, but he never really fully bought in, blah, blah, blah. Which, to be fair, is probably there's some truth to that. But Balotelli clapped back by posting a picture of him holding, I believe, the Champions League trophy on Instagram. So well done, Mario Balotelli. That's a fair move there.
Which Zlatan never won, by the way.
Which right. And also Nisa, the league where the LA team and the Michigan team got into like a bench clearing brawl to finish the game the other day. I haven't actually heard anything. I know police were called. I mean, this was not like your normal little soccer brawl where there's a lot of people kind of chest bumping each other and hold me back, bro. Like people were out there coming from all angles, throwing all sorts of punches and stuff. That was a real brawl. You do not like to see that though in like an official. Well, you don't like to see it anytime, but like you don't like to see it in an officially sanctioned game. I don't know what the backstory was there or what led to it, but yeah. I mean, I guess all news is good news, or all headlines are good headlines if you're lower level soccer. But yeah, it's probably not the way Nisa wanted to get in the headlines. Last honorable mention is to the U.S. youth national team, who beat Mexico, almost beat them 2-0 this week. It was very sad. I think it went into, this is the U23s, by the way. It went into, I think, the 3rd minute of stoppage time or something, and they were up 2-0. And, everybody would have been just loving life if we could have gotten another 2-0. Unfortunately, Mexico scored a useless goal in stoppage time, which made the game 2-1. But still, shout out to the U23s who took care of business against Mexico. You always like to see that. Now, finally, my actual GOAW of this week, not honorable mention. The real McCoy is going to be Mark Smith of Dorking Wanderers, who you guys, probably know pretty well at this point. The team that is like this fairy tale club, went from pub league to like an actual pro serious club over the course of, I think it was maybe 20 years. And Mark Smith has been, at the helm of this club all along. Kyle Shestak, who's a follower from the US, he's just a guy who lives in Philadelphia. Him and I believe his dad invested in the company, in the club. And, it's a cool story, but that's not why he's getting the GOAW this week. I'll give you a little, basically his post-game interview after Dorking lost to Horsham in an FA Cup qualifier. I mean, it was just like, it was one of those post-game interviews that you kind of wish coaches would give something. It was just pure honesty. But they never
He's
really
not
do.
happy.
He was not happy. He was not happy after this loss. So here we go.
To be fully deserved to be in the draw, and hopefully, I really hope they get something amazing that's life changing. So my fucking shit players can learn a fucking lesson because they were so poor. And I'll tell you one thing: I will always put my hand up. It's not about availability, injuries, who was returning, who wasn't. It wasn't about that at all. It was about the fact that that team let the fans down 100%, wholeheartedly. Sometimes I get the management team to take the blame, part blame, some blame, whatever. Today was wholeheartedly a bunch of players that were absolutely shit.
Well, he did not pull punches on that one. Which if you had heard, us speaking to Kyle and Mark on episode, what is it, 2.207, I believe. Yeah, episode 2.207, which you should go listen to. That post-game interview would make a lot of sense and did not come out of left field because he was always pretty much a straight shooter. And he let the players know what he thought. So shout out to Mark for the GOAW this week, and shout out you guys, everybody who's listening. Thank you, Mitchell. Thank you, Mikey. By the way, you please, I know I say this every now and again. I sort of get this thought in my mind. Please thank these guys. Like, go follow them on Instagram, go follow them on Twitter, do everything like that. These guys are the best. They're sharing our, time when they don't have to. Mikey's over here like half dead, looking like he's about to puke. Mitch just moved to New York. I'm sure he's got plenty of boxes to unbox. But thank you guys. I really do appreciate all your, time and effort and the love you put into this podcast. So thank you. And that goes for Tommy and Tyler and everybody else and Dalton and whoever else puts time and thought into the podcast. And also everybody listening. I love all you guys. So thank you. We will see you again next week.